PokeRAMBLE podcast.
Another episode of the PokeRAMBLE podcast after 4 months. We're here to talk about the Pokemon Presents for August 2022. Hello and welcome to episode 56 of the PokeRAMBLE podcast. I'm your host Kamel, and joining me today is Mr Mitch George.
4 months was definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, 4 months too late, some might say. But not much has happened really over the past 4 months. I should ask first, how's it going?
Pretty good, just keeping up with the latest and greatest and continuing to chip away at Pokemon Unite, as you do.
Yeah. How's it going for you in Pokemon Unite at the moment?
Right now, so I've just completed this season's Battle Pass, so it's just at this point completing tasks to get boxes. But what was interesting about this season is they introduced a new currency and a new shop specific to the Battle Pass, where you can purchase some old season pass skins. So I wasn't really playing much when they dropped the Cinderace pirate skin or the Gengar space skin, but now I can potentially get them both as part of this season's seasonal store, which is kind of nice.
That's awesome. It seems like they're becoming better at giving us skins, free skins. But hearing that now you can get Battle Pass skins as well, or be able to earn them at least, that's pretty cool. Because
you can earn the currency you can earn the currency to buy them. So it's part of an RNG thing once you hit the end of the Battle Pass. But yeah, because I think you only get 80 of this limited currency as part of the Battle Pass, and then each of those skins cost 120 of that currency. Right. So there's some RNG now that I'm being baited into just because I want those two skins.
Definitely, I definitely think those two skins, are probably top tier, and it's even better that they were quote unquote free, but Battle Pass, I guess, but still, yeah, pretty good. So where are you in terms of ranked at the moment?
Oh, like low veteran. I didn't hit master in the last season, so it booted me back down to veteran, and I'm just kind of chipping away at it slowly. I'm not.
When you say low veteran, do you mean veteran 1 or veteran 5?
I think it was veteran 5 that it kicked me down to.
Oh my god,
yeah. So I think I've gotten it up to like veteran 2, just playing casually over the last couple of weeks, but nothing crazy. I'm not like playing hundreds of matches to try and get this thing happening. It'll happen when it happens.
It's just like within the last 2 weeks is when I start to be like, okay, I've got a goal. I need to make it there. But you know how painful it is sometimes when you pick up your Switch to play, and then like one of your teammates does something questionable, and then you start tumbling down from there, and it's just like you go into the next match, you get another teammate.
Yeah, you can tell within the first 2 minutes that you want to already surrender because you know it's not going to go well because someone doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, so it can be a bit rough. So yeah, I'm a bit like you at the moment. I haven't played too much, but hopefully we'll both get master before the season ends. It's a short season. But anyway, episode 56. This is episode Mankey. And just a question, really. Have you got any good memories of Mankey or anything notable about Mankey that you want to say?
I think the most interesting thing for me with Mankey was when I played Leaf Green back in the day on the GBA. Yeah. And I never realized as a kid going through Red and Blue that you could catch a Mankey before the first gym. Yeah. By going to that route on the way to the Indigo Plateau. Yeah. So discovering that when I was playing Leaf Green and realizing, oh my god, I picked Charmander, but I can go to this gym with a fighting type Pokemon and just run through Brock. On top of the fact that they added Metal Claw to Charmander's moveset in that game to allow you to not die immediately to Brock was just a game changer for me.
Yeah, Generation 1 was really rough for people who chose Charmander but didn't know about that route, because I think that route also had like a Nidoran as well. Which had double kick, so it was a pretty rough time for Charmander mains like you and me. I guess that's a pretty good memory actually. The other memory I've got of it is the anime where not that we've ever seen it
Mankey
again, but the Mankey. So yeah, a very random Pokemon for Ash to have, but yeah, there we go. That's the thoughts on Mankey, I guess. Yeah. Let's dive into the big news, which is the Pokemon Presents that came in a few days ago. Pokemon have gotten to this habit now where every month we sort of get some news, but be it big or small, but we get news nonetheless. And before we go down to the nitty gritty of the Pokemon Presents, what was your impressions of it, and did it match sort of your expectations of what you thought you were going to get?
100%. It is what I expected. I expected updates on Worlds because it's happening shortly. I expected updates on mobile games, especially the ones that I forget are still happening, like Pokemon Cafe Mix and stuff like that. And I expected to find out what the gimmick of this new generation of games was, as well as maybe a new Pokemon or two. And that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job with this Presents. I think I saw a few people expecting a new game announcement to be made. I just think after sort of the last year where we had, I can't believe Legends Arceus was just January gone. It feels like, it's been ages now, but from getting Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to getting Legends Arceus, I don't think there was any way they were going to announce another new game whilst they focus on Generation 9.
Yeah, the fact we're going to get 3 Pokemon RPGs in the span of a single calendar year, from Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl to Scarlet and Violet, is just unimaginable for me as a fan. So anyone who had expectations of new things being announced, temper those.
Yeah. I think it's probably for the best as well, seeing how Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl turned out. Even though it was done by another developer, but wasn't exactly, I think. Well, it was controversial. Well, when I say controversial, it split the fan base into 2. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I wish it was a bit more than what it was. But anyway, let's go through the Pokemon Presents then. So, like you said, they had updates on their mobile games and whatnot. So, Pokemon Go, there's going to be an Ultra Beast event to time with Go Fest, which is in a couple of weeks. I think the 27th, and it'll have a storyline including Professor Willow, who is the professor of Pokemon Go. Are you going to be participating in Go Fest at all, or is it something you're interested in diving back into, or are you playing it at the moment?
I'm interested in picking it back up. The apprehension I have is that weekend is my sister's birthday, so I very much doubt I'm going to have time to pull myself away and play on my phone for hours on end. So if any other weekend, I might have been tempted, but I think this year it's just going to be one of those things that happens, and then I'll, see what happens from afar, but it's probably not something I'm going to have the time to actively participate in.
The good thing with Pokemon Go these days is it's always got an event going on. So like whenever you do dive in, there is something for you to do or something for you to see. So pretty cool. I mean, I'm like you, where if I'm not busy, then I'll turn on the app and see what's going on. But yeah, it definitely depends on what's happening that weekend. Then we got Pokemon Unite. We enjoy this game quite a lot, me and you. So Boswell's now in the game.
Enjoy is a strong word. I think we both. It's like a. Oh my god! It really is a love-hate relationship where you love it sometimes when you're really like things are going well, you're vibing with the team and things are going well, and then if you have a team that is, a team that wants to play all attackers and all run the same lane, and you just sit there saying why.
Yeah. Or you call top and then someone starts to like just take top.
100%. Every goddamn time.
Or like there's that one jungler who calls jungle but then does jungle once and never does jungle again. It's like, what's going on, guys?
And that's when I cycle back and I run jungle Blissey just because I can.
I need to team up with you if you're using Blissey. God damn.
Oh, I'm running Blissey almost exclusively when I play ranked.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Because no one ever plays Blissey, and you need support on your team.
Yeah, it's broken as well. But talking of Pokemon that probably will need Blissey, Boswell is now in the game, and Tyranta's going to be coming next. Have you played Glaceon at all yet?
I have played Glaceon, yeah. So they had an event when they hit the 1-year anniversary, which is what a lot of this is tying into, these 6 new Pokemon joining the fray, the first wave being Glaceon, Buzzwole, and Tyranitar. You could unlock Glaceon for free, which was nice. So I went through, I did that, and I've played a few matches of Glaceon. Not something I've taken into ranked because I don't know how viable that is, especially when you play, like, your team is all attackers and you need some variety there. So I usually end up playing some form of support in those cases. But it seems like a very interesting Pokemon. It's ice. I think it's Ice Sphere or Ice Spear mechanics are very cool, where it's got moves that'll like crystals. Augment the number of crystals you have around you. And when you use the attack, it'll launch off a ton. So you can get a lot of damage off in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And it's an auto aim attack, so you don't even have to worry about targeting, which is nice.
And the range is ridiculous. Like people
the range is stupid.
Yeah, they ain't no escaping from it. I mean, I've used it a few times in rank, and I like it a lot. It's a bit squishy, but in terms of
like all the other evolutions, except for maybe Sylveon.
True. So Sylveon's like you can get out of jail with his Unite move, but yeah, like you said, you want to stay at a distance with Glaceon, with Sylveon. But yeah, I think it's pretty good in ranked. If you put it in a lane, probably want to leave jungle for someone else, but it's good at ripping objectives and it's good in team fights. But yeah, you just have to keep distance. But yeah, we're gonna get 3 more Pokemon in September as they announced. What are you sort of hoping for these 3?
They haven't. There's been no leaks or anything around these yet, right?
No.
I would assume the next game update will probably leak something or all of it, like what happened with Delphox as well as Buzzwole and Tyranitar. But for me, I'm hoping we can not get another evolution too quick.
Yeah.
Because we have now 3 of them in the game.
So you'll be able to field like a whole team of EVs, and your attack
I would
be manifested.
I mean, if we're going to expect anything, maybe Leafeon to pair with Glaceon coming out in that first wave. But
true.
I really hope we don't get another one for a while. I would be interested to see maybe something from Legends Arceus. So give us one of the forms from that game. Would be kind of neat.
I think Zero Aura, I think now is getting a lot more popularity. You know, it was already a popular Pokemon back in Gen 5, but I think with its regional form, I think that could be a really, really nice shout, having that into the game.
That could be cool. Yeah. The other one I was thinking was Goodra. That could be fun.
Oh, nice, yeah. What, like a defender, or would you put it as an attacker? Like
I'd want it as a defender. We need more of those. I'd love to see a speedster Sceptile.
Yeah.
Because we need more speedsters in the game. There are only the 3 that have been there since launch, so I imagine one of these 3 needs to be a speedster.
Yeah.
And if they want to continue with putting out Pokemon people will recognize, going with another starter makes sense. And the only starter I can think of that really fits the speedster mold could be Sceptile.
Is there any concern that you have that they're adding too many Pokemon to the game, or are you quite happy with the variety?
No, I'm kind of concerned. I love the variety to it, but a lot of the early reviews of players of Buzzwole is that it is not useful in the slightest. It seems like a less effective Garchomp, and Garchomp is already not very effective.
You made it look
effective. It would probably be good if they slowed this roll a little bit and balanced and made some Pokemon a little more viable in both ranked and just made them more fun to play.
Yeah, true.
But we're getting at least 3 more, and then hopefully they can take a break.
I think, balancing needs to be at the forefront, because it seems like every patch that we have is there's just a couple of Pokemon that are just absolutely broken, and we have to play like for a month with that meta. I think the current meta is okay. I don't think there's too much wrong with it. But
no,
yeah, you're exactly right. The more Pokemon we have, the more problems we're probably gonna have. So yeah, I'd like them just to release Pokemon in a slower sort of like timescale instead of like rushing 3 Pokemon in 1 month. It just
I mean, we got
to navigate to your Pokemon.
I mean, technically we got Glaceon in July. And then we're getting Tyranitar and Buzzwole this month. They're saying the next wave will start in September.
Oh, right.
So we'll get a new Pokemon in September, but maybe they'll space it out and those will be the last 3 before like the end of the year. And then they'll just spend a lot of time balancing.
That'd be good. I think what Unite needs is more maps perhaps, or like gimmicks and maps. So like, we've got ranked battle, that one normal map. But what if we had a map where it was raining, so your Pokemon are a bit more slippery, or I don't know, it was sunny, so like, I don't know, special attacks do a lot more damage. I don't know. I think more stuff around maps would be pretty cool to work on instead of just adding more Pokemon.
I think it's been fun, these sort of timed events that they've had. They've introduced the Bosch Rush mode. They've had this Pika Party mode.
Which was one that was unpresented. Have you played the Pika Party mode at all?
I've played it a little bit. I was going to play and try and get to the end of it because there's the final reward is a box that contains a costume for Pikachu.
Nice.
And then I found out what the costumes were. I'm like, I don't need to grind for this anymore because it's either the purple hat or the orange hat Pikachu.
Oh no.
Like maybe I'll get this eventually, but I'm not going to rush through these 20 battles I need to do to unlock that. So it'll be one of those things. If I'll go in, if I have a mission to complete with an attacker, then I'll probably do that mode to just get knock another one off the list. But again, there's like 20 days left of that. I will slowly chip away at that. I don't need to do more than 1 or 2 a day, I think. But it's fun because I like playing Pikachu. Pikachu is one of my main attackers that I use. Although it is, again, a very squishy attacker. I just love its ability to zone control with Thunderbolt, especially when I'm trying to run away.
Do you use Volt Tackle as well?
No, I run Thunderbolt Electro Ball.
Oh, nice.
I like to play it a little more at range.
Yeah, true. it can be annoying Pokemon if you use Volt Tackle, because people just get stunned and they can't do anything, and then like your teammates can just rush in it and attack. But
it works well in Pika Party doing the Volt Tackle, just because everyone's playing Pikachu.
Yeah,
you don't have as much to worry about. But yeah, no, I've still been sticking with my tried and true Electro Ball Thunderbolt combo.
Pikachu is one of those Pokemon where you can use any sort of moveset and it'll be good.
Yeah, it's a very approachable Pokemon, one of the easiest Pokemon to play in the game. So I like the fact that they've made a mode focusing on that while also doing a lot to encourage returning players to play the game, including additional bonuses for playing with returning players, inviting your friends to come back and play the game. I know, at least for me, I kind of, at the end of the last season, I completed the Battle Pass and then I didn't play too much. Yeah. So me coming back to the game, it had been at least 2 weeks. So I got the returning player bonus. So I got another Pokemon license. I got a whole bunch of other stuff. I got a ton of like item upgrades and all that stuff. So I was very happy. But it's one of those things that they do a lot to encourage players to come back. It would be nice to see them do more things to retain those players.
The last thing Pokemon Unite related from the presents was that there's going to be a Holoware event where you can earn new Holowares for Blastoise, Pikachu, Snorlax, Lucario, and Sylveon. So like you said, another incentive for people to come back into their game.
100%.
We'll move on to the next segment, which was Pokemon Masters. So 6 months ago, they announced that they were going to be working on a new way to interact with sync pairs in the game, so other trainers and their Pokemon. And in the trailer, we saw they announced the Trainer Lodge, which is going to be that, and we got like a preview of it. Apart from that, there was a CG trailer of Red and Pikachu atop Mount Silver, which might have been like the hypest thing ever. And then you just see another trainer running up the stairs, and who should it be? Well, we don't know. It's shadowed out, but it looks like Ash to me. So
very much does.
I think for the 3rd anniversary, they're going to be giving everyone the free Ash and Pikachu sort of sync pair to play with. We haven't got Red and Pikachu in the game yet either, so we might get that as a sync pair as well. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I know a lot of people thought this was going to be Let's Go Johto, but no, it was going to be Let's Go Johto. The CG would have looked way different compared to what we got.
Oh yeah. I also don't think if they're going to tease a Let's Go Johto that it's going to start with a shot of Red on Mountain Silver.
No. The Johto region, and it's like a zoom out of the Johto region. It would be like how it looks so different, like the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games. Yeah, that's what they call it. I even forgot what they're called. I think they'll do like a region overview first, not like go to like the best moment in the game and introduce it that way. But yeah,
no, I mean what it'll be is it'll be New Barktown in the style of Let's Go, and then people will just know.
Yeah. But that's it for Pokemon Masters. I mean, a lot of people from the Pokemon Masters community were a bit disappointed because they thought they would see like what sync pairs were going to come for the anniversary, since the anniversary's in about 20 days from now. But no, we're just going to have to bide our time and be patient with that one. The next thing to talk about was Cafe Remix, where we saw like a Mewtwo that was hungry, which was an incredible fake out because you thought, oh, what's Mewtwo doing here? And he's just attacking, well, trying to attack, and then he wants a burger.
Yeah, it could have been interesting, but then he wants donuts.
Do you play Cav Remix at all?
No, I played it at launch a little bit just to try it out, but it's not really. I love puzzle games, but for whatever reason it didn't hook me.
Yeah, I think you're not the only one. I mean, my friend tried, and it was just one of the games where if I was a bit younger, I would have probably loved the hell out of this game, but I think I'm at the age where it's not doing too much for me. I don't know if you play Pokemon Shuffle at all.
No, I've played I played the other games. So I've played Shuffle. I've played Troze.
Yeah,
I played a ton of Pokemon Picross. That was my jam.
Yeah, it feels like a dumbed down version of it, and that's sort of probably why I couldn't mesh with it too much. But I do love the Pokemon designs in it, and yeah, it's nice to see they're getting another iconic Pokemon into the game. But here we go, the main moment we've been waiting for. Yeah, the Pokemon presents Scarlet and Violet. So where did we start? I mean, first opening shots we get is we're riding on the legendary Pokemon straight away. Like, it looks like we're in the early game. We've already got a legendary Pokemon. What's going on there?
What I think it's going to be is not quite to the same level of what we saw in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, where you get the opportunity to catch Latios and Latios or like you get gifted Latios or Latios very early in the game. I think it was before the 4th gym.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. What I feel like it's going to be is they talked about the 3 storylines or the 3 main quest lines in the game. I think one of them is going to have to do with like earning the trust of the legendaries.
Yeah.
Where they're going to be with you as a companion, but they will not acknowledge you as their trainer until you complete some alternate objectives.
Yeah.
So they're going to be there as a vehicle and as a mount, but we're not going to actually have them as Pokemon until much later into the game.
I think you're spot on. That's exactly what I think. And I think later on in the trailer, we see them in their alternate form. And I think that's probably more when we're going to be able to, catch / battle them or whatever. But I think you're very much right in the fact that somehow we're going to be chilling out with legendary Pokemon and going around the region, but we're not going to be able to use them in a battle or anything like that.
Yeah, I am hoping we get that early. Like you said, it does seem like it's early game because the fact that this is going to be officially the first open world Pokemon RPGs that we've gotten in this series. Traversal could have been a real concern, especially early game when at least we'll know from the trailer that we have these vehicles waiting for us at some point. The fact they're showing it to us now means it has to be very early in the game.
Yeah. Just on that, you mentioned there's gonna be 3 stories. One of them is gonna involve taking on the gym challenge, which I'm happy about. I love gyms.
I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, I love that stuff. But are you concerned? They're saying there's gonna be 3 stories. I mean, the Pokemon franchise, the last story I can really think that was really good was Pokemon Black and to an extent Black 2 and White 2.
Yep.
How will they manage 3 stories? I'm not confident they're going to nail any one of these.
I think they will, because it sounds like you need to complete all 3 to reach the end game. So I feel like they're going to be these 3 separate threads, one being the gym challenge, one being something to do with the legendaries. Maybe that's this treasure hunt that you're going on that they mentioned multiple times in the trailer.
Yeah.
Maybe the legendaries tie into the terastallizing phenomenon, and that's what we're trying to understand and research within the region, which seems like the case since the professor in your chosen game is the one who gives you the item that triggers this crystal stuff. The third one, maybe it's the villain group of the region or something along those lines.
Seen them
and then by completing all 3 of those, you reach an end game, which is you challenging the legendary. There's some finale to the whole crystal thing.
Yeah.
And that wraps it up or something along those lines. I think that could be a way to approach it.
I just hope it's good. I really do.
The story in Pokemon is never what we go for. It's never about the story. When Black and White, Black 2 and White 2 are the exception and not the norm when it comes to having engaging Pokemon stories. I don't expect this one to blow anyone out of the water.
No. It's just that, Pokemon says it's going in a new direction. You've got the open world now. I'm hoping, in terms of that, it will be given more of a precedent. But I think you're probably right. It's not going to be top of the agenda, is it?
I think the first pass here will be about nailing the open world mechanics, seeing how much of the battle system and catching system moves from Legends Arceus into this game. Yeah. That's one thing we still haven't seen yet. One thing I really still do want to see is how much of that is going to carry over. Because I know a lot of people who really like those catching mechanics of not having to necessarily battle everything. So I think they're really going to look to nail the mechanics here, and then future games can hopefully improve on the formula.
Hey, I'll thank you if it does. I'll thank you if it does. We were talking about the gym challenge briefly there, and they said we can do it in any order.
Yes.
I've got several questions. One, how will this work? 2, how will Pokemon scale? 3, will the overworld Pokemon change levels in relation to the amount of badges that you have? And then 4, will gym leaders' teams change depending on how many badges you have?
Yeah, so there are some leaks out there that have seemed to have been proven true to this point.
Yeah,
that do lean into the gym challenge not scaling. So there will be probably an expected or preferred order, but technically you could challenge them in any order. So that you will see people who are trying to there will be people who be like, oh, I'm going to go challenge the 8th gym first because I've been doing the other stories mainly and my Pokemon are over leveled, and then they could just fly through the gym challenge. The thing for me is I do expect the overworld Pokemon to scale because we've seen that happen in both Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
But the gym challenge, I'm not expecting it, which is a bit of a disappointment, especially for those who are looking for more of a non-traditional Pokemon experience and they go down these other story paths first, will end up being over-leveled and just run through the gym challenge. But we'll see what happens when they tell us more about it, I suppose.
Yeah, I was hoping that, in online competitive, your Pokemon capped to a certain level. And I was hoping that, if you got one badge, then Pokemon are capped to level 10, two badges, level 20, or sorry, 30.
That would be interesting.
Or easy see, but I guess with it being the first game of its kind, they're probably going to need feedback on this and hopefully implement it in future iterations.
Yeah, I don't expect them to get everything right on the first attempt.
No, they never do. Never do.
And then they'll just abandon everything that they've advanced on for the next one.
Yeah. Talking about Pokemon, then we got introduced to a few more Pokemon. We got the Paldean Wooper. We got Fido.
Glad to see regional forms confirmed, that they're bringing new regional forms to Paldea.
I think regional forms is probably the best thing Pokemon have done in years. Like, forget about the gimmicks and whatnot. In terms of things that they've introduced that are now a permanent feature, regional forms are the best. I love how they give a new lease of life to new old Pokemon. How it doesn't how do I say this?
It doesn't add more Pokemon to the list of almost 1,000 Pokemon that do exist. It gives you alternates of Pokemon you may already be familiar with.
Excuse me. Oh god, I'm dying over here.
I mean, I make good points, and it'll knock people out. I get it.
Yeah, there's Wooper's poison. Yeah. I kind of like the stories they give behind why these Pokemon have changed from their original forms as well. And this Wooper over here, I looked at it on the website, and it says ground poison type, and it's got water absorb as one of its abilities. I mean, from a competitive point of view as well, it's just oh, this is gonna be awesome to have this Pokemon running about. I mean, Quagsire, from Gen 2 is still very good in competitive these days, but to have another Quagsire I can use apart from the normal one is gonna be awesome, and it's gonna make the meta more interesting, I think.
Yeah, and Poison Ground, I'm trying to think, from a competitive standpoint, that typing seems pretty bulky defensively, and given Quagsire is already a pretty bulky Pokemon, and Water Ground was also very good.
Yeah.
Very good typing for that kind of bulky defensive Pokemon.
Yeah.
The only weaknesses, I'm trying to look here. Yeah, the only weaknesses it has are Fairy and Grass. Oh, and Ground and Psychic. So the ground one could be a problem, Fairy could be a problem, but the fact that not only are you eliminating a weakness in water, but you can...
I think it's Psychic, Ground, what's the other one? Not Fairy, because it's super effective against fairies.
Right, yeah, I was looking at the wrong column. Yeah, so Poison would be Psychic, Bug, or no, Psychic and Ground from Gen 6 onward, and then Ground type.
I know I'm missing one for sure.
Grass, Ice, and Water.
Oh, Ice will be weak too, and Water it can.
It won't be weak to Water if you use Water.
Yeah, so 3 weaknesses then, I guess.
4 technically.
Yeah, 4 technically. But yeah, it's such a poison. It's a cool choice as well, I think.
Well, no, because Poison resists Grass, so that makes Grass neutral. So yeah, it would only be 3: Ice, Ground, and Psychic.
Yeah. Cool design, and I saw the picture on the website as well. It looks happy. It's just always happy.
Yeah,
I'm glad that it's kept that happiness.
A happy Wooper is a great Wooper.
Yeah. Talking about happy, Fido as well. I know a lot of people are happy about that one. Just a cute fairy type.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine the folks at the Pokemon Company seeing everyone react to Lechonk in the first trailer, saying Lechonk is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then saying, you know what's the greatest thing since sliced bread? It's our dog Pokemon that is actually bread.
Yep. Oh mate, I did not much to say about it competitively. It's a fairy type, so I mean that's it. Really,
I'll have to see and wait and see what it evolves into. I think a bulkier defensive fairy type could be viable in some fashions or in some formats with certain teams.
Let's just hope it's not on 2s. Still an awful.
No, I think it'll go the route of a Stoutland of just being big and chonky.
Nice. And talking about big and chonky, thank you for the what would you call them? I haven't podcasted in such a long time. Segue. There we go. That's the word. Sea Titan. which is a big, chunky ice type.
It's a narwhal on legs, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me of Kyogre a bit, but it's got legs, like you said. Yeah.
It's if Kyogre and Wailord had an ice type baby and could walk on 2 legs.
Are you saying that we're going to get a Paldean and Wailord?
Not if we already have Titan in the books.
And
this would have been the way for them to do it if they wanted to put Wailord on land. Titan.
Yeah, true. And we know it's the ace Pokemon of one of the gym leaders, which is I think it's Grusha. Yeah, Grusha. And this Pokemon's got 2 abilities, which is Thick Fat, which will absorb more damage from fire types. I think it's fire types and ice types. And it's got Slush Rush, which makes it faster in Hail. So do you think this is going to have a bit of speed on it, or do you think it's going to be slow?
So yeah, with Thick Fat, if it's attacked by an ice or fire type move, the opponent's attack or special attack is reduced by 50% during the damage calculation. So it halves the damage from ice or fire type attacks.
Do you think it's yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think a bulky ice type has some viability. The problem you run into is with its weaknesses. I know Thick Fat will eliminate one of those in fire, but you've still got to deal with fighting, rock, and steel, which are all very common types or very common coverage moves in competitive. So I don't see it being the most viable unless maybe it's got a Terra type that will eliminate some of those, which we will talk about in a second.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say that we were introduced into other characters. So we've got Arvin, who's like an upperclassman. We've got Penny, who's like another one of your classmates. We've got Jack, who's going to be your teacher, and he gives you the Pokédex. And then obviously we talked about Grusha. And then we got Clavel, who's the academy director. So we got more characters introduced. And we saw a couple of characters that we don't know the names of just yet. But so far, I quite like the designs of the trainers. They're very memorable, I'd say.
Yeah, we see a lot of trainers in the trailer, and it goes to the credit of the Pokemon Company designers that there were some trainers. I'm like, is that a hiker or is that actually like a rock type gym leader? I think like the designs of the base trainers in the game look so novel and fresh that we could have seen them as just being outright Pokemon gym leaders, and I don't think they are. So that sort of thing, or that sort of realization, was nice to have.
The next thing we'll talk about is multiplayer will be returning in this game, and it'll be even more improved. So while in Sword and Shield in the wild area you could see other people but you couldn't really interact with them, it seems like in this game you can go on adventures with your friends in your world. That's quite the welcome addition. I think it is the first time the Pokemon game's been able to do that. I'm quite excited to see, how everyone gets along with the multiplayer.
Yeah, it seems like you need to travel to a specific location to engage it. I think they were called Union Stations, or something along those lines. So I like that aspect of it, because my biggest pet peeve in Sword and Shield, I want this game to be something that's just always connected to the internet. If I have an internet connection, be connected, because having to go into the menus in Sword and Shield, connect to the internet, wait for it to connect, say it's connected, and then refresh the stickers or the whatever they are in the versus menu or the online menu in that game was so tedious. I just want this one to work, and if I go to one of these stations and I hit the button, bring up a list of friends that are already online, and I can send them invites. Like, reduce the barrier to making this stuff work, which will make me as a player more likely to use it when I'm playing the game.
I can't remember what it was, but Monster Hunter, I think it was Nintendo's like online system. I think it was the only game. Monster Hunter Rise was the only game to use it, and I'll tell you what, the online infrastructure in that game is incredible. So I'm sort of hoping that Game Freak probably have adopted the same infrastructure, and if they have, I think multiplayer is going to be seamless.
That is my biggest hope for this game, is that they use that new multiplayer framework that Nintendo put out, and that it works as expected.
And they've announced that there's going to be a multiplayer mode, one that's come over from Sword and Shield, which is raid battles.
Thank God.
I'm quite happy about, because I think raid battles are probably the most fun I've had in a Pokemon game. Being able to bring my friends into a battle and face off against like a giant boss, and sometimes having to coordinate, like having to face a Zygarde in like the Crown Tundra. It was not a fun experience.
Who's going to Dynamax on which turn? Who's going to support that? Whatever the case might be. I really love the Dynamax Adventure, so I hope we get some form of that in this game.
Yeah.
Whether it be DLC or as part of the base game, I'd imagine it's something saved for DLC. But I'm very interested to see how the raid battles play into the co-op as well. Like, do you already need to be in a co-op session when you get to one of these things? Can you initiate it just from the Crystal Cave or whatever they're going to call the areas where you go to hunt these Terra Pokemon?
From what I've seen,
I'm excited.
My impression is that it's going to work similarly to the raid dens in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where you go up to a crystal, you click on it, and it'll come up with that menu. I mean, I've seen some of the menus from Cerebi, and it seems like it's very much is, here's your link code, invite people or join with other players, or you can go into it solo. So I think you might have to already be connected to the internet to be able to do that with other players.
Again, one of those things, as long as it's not going to kick me out of the internet every time that I'm trying to do one of these things,
and you fail it,
that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as they make it seamless again, of like, because before, I'd love to see them do an integration with the Nintendo Switch friend menu, because that's one thing that they don't do, is it's all of these link codes and things like that. Like, if I have a friend online who's playing this game, I should just be able to send them a request from the Switch menu and not necessarily have to send them a code.
Yeah, no, I agree. We can only hope. We can't do much, can we? We never can.
No, we can hope, we can dream, we can pray to whichever,
deity.
Pray to it. Yeah. However you pray to deities, you can do so, and or not, But yeah, we gotta hope for the best. Expect the worst, hope for the best.
Exactly. And the raid battles link into the terrestrial phenomenon, which is the Gen 9 gimmick that we lightly touched on, which you said the professors were looking into or researching it. So these raid battles will have Pokemon with rarer terraforms. So essentially each Pokemon can have a terraform, which allows them to adopt a type, of the 18 types. And the benefit of it adopting that type is that the move of the same type will get a power boost. And interestingly enough, looking at the website, it sounds like their original types as well will get like a boost. So I don't know if it's poorly worded, but it sounds like they're going to have like Pokemon potentially can have like 3 different types that can have a power boost, which seems absolutely insane. But what do you think of the
that seems broken?
Yeah. I mean, I think the gimmick for this generation is going to be quite interesting in the fact that when you go into a battle, you can choose from any of your Pokemon to Terra type. Only one can do it, and it will last till the end of the battle. But being able to go into a battle and be like, okay, it looks like my team is quite weak to, I don't know, ground types. So I'll change one of my Pokemon, let's say the free Pikachu we're going to get from the mystery gift, to a flying Terra type, and suddenly you're not as weak to ground types as you previously were. It's a pretty cool gimmick.
I like the idea too of it'll make certain Pokemon more viable that had great coverage.
Yeah.
So if you have a Pokemon that has very good coverage moves, you can then just have a version of that Pokemon that has a specific Terra type for that type of attack and get that attack boost, as well as change your type. So you can then, get a same type attack bonus from both the attacks you had for your type and then any of the coverage type moves that you had for competitive. So I think this is actually going to be a really, really cool gimmick for competitive play.
And it seems like the meta for once is it's not going to be settled for quite some time, because if each Pokemon theoretically can change into any of the 18 other types, and I guess
the implications of that are out of this world with regards to how much variety we could get in teams, which I think is very interesting, especially if the meta leans into a Pokemon having a specific Terra type to negate some other thing that's very popular in the meta. You could go counter meta to that and have either a version of that Pokemon that doesn't Terra type to that type, and let's say it Terra types to its own type to get an additional bonus to its original typing, so it gets like double stab boost or whatever it's going to end up being when Cerebi goes in and does all the calculations for us.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of variety that this could implement into the competitive scene.
I'm kind of hoping that double stab only applies to the Terra type that you change into, and not like your original types as well, because I think the original types as well is going to be crazy. But I guess.
Well, I would assume, like they said, so the Pokemon will have a Terra type. For example, they show the starters with the Terra type being their base type. So let's say you had a what's like, let's say you had a Sprigatito, the grass type Pokemon, and its Terra type was grass. I would assume that if you terrestrialize that, you would get your same type attack bonus from being a grass type, as well as the Terra type attack bonus, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant.
So that could be crazy.
Yeah.
In terms of the number of stat boosts
on
that
sort of thing. How much the second or the terrestrial boost will give you, because I was thinking about this and like there's one Pokemon that I really hate to face against, and there's a Crawdon with adaptability. So that will adaptability gives it like 100% to stab instead of 50%, and then if you put that in the rain, and then if you Terra type it into a water type, like I think it could one shot most things really, which seems absolutely insane. So I'll be
and it's those sort of combinations that the pro players are going to find and try and abuse, right?
Or even Porygon. Porygon would be crazy, even though it's just a normal type. But yeah, I quite like it. I mean, the hats look weird, but you know what?
Yeah, the crystalline forms look odd, but I love the fact that. So the reason I liked Z-Move so much in Sun Moon, and the reason that I like Dynamax so much is that it could apply to every Pokemon, which added that additional layer of complexity in competitive.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of people that really miss Mega Evolutions. I think that was a really fun gimmick in terms of changing just certain Pokemon for the remainder of the battle. But that was the thing, is it very much limited in scope the meta of competitive because you could only Mega Evolve certain Pokemon. This applies across the board, and what I'm hoping for somewhere in this game, there will be some way or some quest or some vendor to pay where you can change Terra types. I would expect that entirely because that seems to be the direction Pokemon's been going, of making things more accessible from a competitive standpoint, with things like resetting EVs and checking EVs and making it easier to EV train, IV train with the introduction of the bottle caps. I fully expect there to be an item or a shop or something to allow you to change the Terra type into any type, so that you can make your starter Pokemon, which I presume is going to have its regular type as its Terra type.
Yeah.
It'll give you the ability to change that and make that a competitively viable Pokemon. If you want to make a Quaxly's final evolution that is also a flying type, or I don't know, an electric type or whatever, because this also will allow us to have type combinations we've never seen in the game, which is very cool. Like you could have more normal ghost types, which is absolutely broken.
Wait, so do you think I was under the impression that Terra types would turn, like if a Pokemon has two types, just into one type, which is the Terra type? Do you think it's going to replace sort of the primary Pokemon's type but keep the secondary type as well?
So I think what it would do is probably replace the secondary type. So let's say it was a secondary type, and let's say you had a Pokemon that was fire ground, and its Terra type was fire, then it would be fire when it terrestrialized or something along those lines.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, it's brought along a lot of questions, hasn't it, this gimmick?
We need to get answers, and we will between now and November 18th or 19th or whenever it is those games are coming out.
I'm quite excited by the prospect and battles, and like seeing how, you know, I can set up my team to cover weaknesses with this as well. It'll be fun. It should be a fun mechanic. Anything else? Oh yeah. So apparently, from the website, players can terrestrialize the Pokemon by having something called a Terra Orb, but the Pokemon won't need this. The trainer will. So you could go into a battle with a Pokemon being able to terrestrialize or whatever, and them still being able to use an item, which is absolutely insane.
Well, I think the other thing too is this is something that we're probably going to be given from the professor as they want to research this phenomena. They want us to travel the region to investigate this terrestrialization phenomena. But it also says that the orb needs to be recharged. Yeah, so you can recharge it by going to the crystals that are in the overworld, or by going to a Pokemon Center. So it's another thing of you need to manage your terrestrial energy as you traverse the Paldea region.
I think it's a good move, because Mega Evolution in Gen 6, when you got the Mega Lucario, you could literally go up to any trainer, any battle, just Mega Evolve it, and it's the coverage it had on Pokemon meant that it could one-shot anything, and it made the game so easy to the point that I had to stop using it. So having this gimmick, but having it limited by you needing to recharge it, and having to do something to recharge it, will make you think, okay, maybe I won't Terra this battle, I don't necessarily need it, which is good. I think it's a good balance for the overworld and the single player.
That, or if people do want to cheese the experience, it'll just mean a lot of backtracking to Pokemon centers to recharge, or investigating additional crystals.
Yeah.
Which will encourage people to engage with raid battles more, which will encourage people to play with their friends more, which will just in turn make it a more open, collaborative, fun experience, especially with the multiplayer that they're investing a lot of time and effort into. So I'm excited to see where this all shakes out in November.
Yeah, November 17th, isn't it? I think it was 17th. 18th. Okay, there we go.
18th is the Friday.
Before the World Cup.
Which is 9 days after the release of God of War Ragnarok. So I have 9 days to beat God of War before I get to dig into Pokemon for the rest of time.
Days off.
I'm planning on booking off a few days for both of those games. So that'll be a conversation I have to have with my manager.
As well. Anything else in terrestrializing that you want to add, or?
No, I think just like I said, the combinations are endless. We're going to see type combos we've never seen before, and people aren't going to know how to manage them. I know Wolf Glick, former VGC champion, put out a video a few months ago of what he felt were the most useful type combinations when it came to offensive or defensive Pokemon. Mm-hmm. I think anything in there that is not already being, not already a Pokemon in the game is something that would be interesting to follow once this new meta starts to form.
Well, I think Fire Grass is still not here, is it? So maybe that.
Fire Grass will be an interesting one. Fairy Steel, pairing an offensive type with a defensive type. Like you look at something like Klefki that was very brittle, but if you have a really bulky Fairy type or Steel type Pokemon and give it Fairy typing, it could be lights out.
Yeah, Ice types won't be useless anymore, which would be nice defensively. So, there was just other things. So this wasn't part of the Pokemon Presents, but like I said, I went to Cerebri's website afterwards, and they've always got like these pre-release screenshots. And I was having a look through them, and it looks like that experience share is going to be back, and probably forced. So
I would imagine
it makes the scaling thing a bit weird, as in not having scaling a bit weird. But there we go. I do wish that we could turn it off and on, but
it does seem like we're getting overworld encounters back just based on some of those screenshots as well. So I'm hoping too that overworld shinies make a return.
Yeah, I love those encounters. I know I'm such a boomer, but it's just, it's something special.
It makes it feel like a more organic experience as opposed to interrupting every time to play the battle theme to then go into a battle. It doesn't look like, I know Serbi's got a screenshot of a battle. Your trainer with a Pikachu is facing a Swablu, and it doesn't look like there's anything additional in that menu. Like I was thinking whether or not the turn order mechanic from Arceus was going to come back, or the agile style and strong style typing, but I don't think that's coming back, which is unfortunate. But hopefully they do another Legends game that does carry on that mechanic, because I thought that was very novel when it came to the battle system. It changed it up in a way that was nice to see the change.
I thought, like, initially when Gen 9 was announced, the gimmick would be like a dance style or a salsa style or something like that, and that would be like from Legends Arceus, but yeah, no, it wasn't meant to be.
I'm much happier with the crystal forms.
Yeah.
But wait, does this mean? Wait, Kumail, crystal forms. Crystal was a Gen 2 game. Let's Go Johto confirmed.
It's confirmed, and like that fake out from Pokemon Masters wasn't actually a fake out; it was a hint too. So
the announcement of Let's Go Johto is going to come out of that Pokemon Masters EX event.
Do we need a weekly segment where the Helioptile?
Where is Let's Go Johto?
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah,
it may be more viable than the other weekly segment that you have.
Yeah, which we'll come on to. Christ. Other things, the Pokedex just looks really cool. It looks like they're like little books of Pokemon with nice little covers and stuff like that from your phone. So that's pretty cool. And there's a mini map. Can you believe it? We finally have a mini map.
It only took 25 years.
I know. I mean, playing Sword and Shield was good and all, and I like 3D games. I prefer the 2D games, but I like 3D. Nothing against it. But man, trying to like traverse to places in the DLC was a pain, because the overworld map doesn't really show you where you are. It shows you an indication like, oh, you're roughly around here, but it doesn't show you if you're going north, east, west, south, But this, with a mini-map, finally we'll be able to move about the place. They had it in they didn't have a mini-map, but they had a map that showed you where you were walking and stuff in like Sun and Moon, but they never brought it back. So it looks like that's here to stay as well, so that's going to be great.
Let's hope so.
But yeah, I mean that's the Pokemon Presents really. Is there anything that you wanted to see in the Pokemon Presents for Scarlet and Violet that you didn't get, or quite happy with what you've got?
Like I said off the top, I expected the gimmick. Yep. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen that we didn't get was the typing of the legendaries. Because most people are going to make the decision of what game to buy based on the type of the legendary, what the legendary looks like on the box. Mm-hmm. I've already settled in that I'm Team Scarlet because my sister, we each buy one of the games. She really likes the color purple. She's getting the purple one, so she's getting Violet. I'm going to get Scarlet. So it'd be nice to know what those types are. I assume it's Electric Dragon and maybe Rock Dragon because it looks like prehistoric in some sort.
Yeah, I'd agree.
For Miraidon and Koraidon. Mm-hmm. But the other weird thing was when you're riding the Scarlet Legendary in bike mode, it's running on all fours, even though it has those 2 large tires.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one is using those tires, so I'm just confused. I want to see more.
Flat tires. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Pokemon Presents. I think for the next one, I'd like to see like one more regional type, and then we'll call it there, and then wait for the game in November. But yeah, we're not too far away.
Yeah, I think a few more Pokemon, maybe a hint at final evolutions for the starters, but that's... I don't expect them to show much because they didn't show much for us for Sword and Shield going into that, and I really enjoyed that. It felt like a fresh experience in that way. So hoping they're following a similar marketing strategy here with Scarlet and Violet. And it cannot get here soon enough, Camille.
Talking about things that can't get here soon enough, Mitch, where the Helioptile is Pokemon Sleep?
It's never coming out. You should move on to talking about Let's Go Johto coming out instead, because this game is never going to see the light of day.
It's been 3 years, Mitch. 3 years.
I know.
They haven't even mentioned it. Not even a...
They haven't needed to. We've had a pandemic. If they come out and said, oh, because of the pandemic, we've put this on indefinite hold. Put that in one press release and it's done. Because it's never coming out, Camille. Never.
It has to. I mean, I put too much into it for it not to come out.
It's never coming out.
Come on.
That's like the Pokemon Go Plus attachment for that. It's never happening.
I'll tell you what.
I know it's disappointing, but it's not happening.
I'm making a prediction now. Next Pokemon Presents, it's there. I'll say that for every Pokemon.
You say that before every Pokemon Presents.
Oh god. Oh well. I guess we'll end it with an interesting fact, quote unquote. So, the unknown fact of the week for this week, it comes from someone on Reddit called plus-atmosphere7904, which is probably his Discord username. He says that in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, you can surf on a tree in Pokestar Studios. However, you'll be stuck and forced to reset your game. So yeah, kids, don't surf on trees. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the PokeRAMBLE podcast for this week. Mitch, thank you very much for joining me. I know
always
you've got some exciting news to share with everybody, so why don't you tell them?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's still kind of a work in progress, the things that I'm working on. I do a couple of podcasts every so often, one on Disney stuff, one on like nerd culture stuff. The easiest way to keep up with any of that stuff and all the stuff I get up to, whether it be on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any of those things, links to all my socials are at MitchGeorge.com, but the easiest way to keep up with me is you head over to Twitter and you follow at Mr Mitch George. That's MrMitchGeorge.
And if you're feeling lazy, it'll be all in the description, so don't you worry. People who are listening, all 17 of you. But yeah, that's another episode of the PokeRAMBLE podcast, and we'll be back next week, probably focusing on the Pokemon Masters news, because we're expecting all the anniversary stuff to come out then. But till then, stay safe and catch them all.